Sort of depend on who you're talking to, but some believe that the move to capture Maduro was an effective one and one that was welcomed, despite some questions about exactly what will happen next. I spoke earlier today with Congressman Scott Perry from the Susquehanna Valley. He said he was not surprised by the strike given the buildup of military forces in the region and felt President Trump ended the reign of an authoritarian dictator. Perry said he wasn't upset that Congress did not get a heads up ahead of the strike. He said the president made the calculation that some lawmakers may not have kept word of the military action quiet.
Unfortunately, I think that we've seen in the recent past that cannot be relied upon. And of course, those leaks put law enforcement, and in this case, the supporting military, the uniformed military services, in harm's way and in jeopardy.
In regards to the president's comments about boots on the ground, Perry said he was concerned about the idea of putting more U.S. military members in harm's way potentially, though he said some of the president's comments today may have simply about trying to dissuade any further opposition from Venezuela or other allies of that country. Now, other members of Congress, like Democrat Chrissy Houlihan of Chester and Berks counties, said the strike was a naked and reckless attempt to enrich the already rich and to distract the American public. It presents a grave and danger for our troops and for us all, she wrote on social media platform X. Elsewhere, the chair of Pennsylvania's Legislative Latino Caucus said that she was concerned about the potential impact to the region and urged those involved to uphold restraints, international law, and prioritize a peaceful diplomatic resolution that respects human rights and the Venezuelan people's right to self-determination. Now, as far as the future of Venezuela and U.S. involvement, we'll have more coming up at 11 on what Perry had to say regarding that. Here in Harrisburg, Tom Lehman, WGAL News 8.
Tom, thank you. Now, other political leaders are weighing in. Republican Senator Dave McCormick congratulated the president on the operation, saying in part, quote, "I urge what's left of the Maduro regime to honor the will of the Venezuelan people and transition peacefully to rightfully elected leadership." Democratic Senator John Fetterman also responded, posting, quote, "Grateful for our U.S. military personnel that handled these orders in Venezuela with precision. I maintain that we have the strongest and most lethal military in the world. Today proves that even more."